From Snow White to Big Hero 6, Kingdom Hearts has explored many of the movies we know and love, but what's in store for us in the next instalment of the series? Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video I'll be going through movies I think would be a great fit in Kingdom Hearts 4 and why I think they would suit the game. At the end I'll also be giving my personal top 5 worlds that I would most like to see. So the first world is one that was teased in the reveal trailer, and that is Endor from Star Wars. The appearance of this world would mark the first time Square Enix has used a Lucasfilm movie in its games, and the already well-developed franchise would make a welcome addition to Kingdom Hearts. It's uncertain whether the events of the game would take place during the Battle of Endor or further in the future, but arguments could be made for both. Worlds such as Toy Box and Monstropolis have plots that take place outside the movies that work just as well as worlds whose plots take place within them. With a plethora of characters at their disposal, Endor could prove to be a populous world with many intriguing allies and enemies. If there are Heartless in this world, the flora and fauna native to Endor would make for a wide range of designs, and mixing in stormtroopers would give the world the variety it would need to stay fresh long into the endgame. The next world I chose is one that, if done correctly, has the potential to be the best world the game could add, and that is Zootopia. Turning Sora into other creatures has been done a few times before in worlds such as Pride Lands and Atlantica, but since Zootopia's animals all walk on two legs for the most part, this transition will be easier, and the vast expanse of the main city, as well as the many biomes that surround the central city area, could make this the largest world the series has done. The size of Zootopia would be too big to include all of it, but adding a few biomes to the central area could still give this world a decent storyline and not feel empty. The Heartless will be based on the various mammals, and bosses for this world could be the savage animals, as this transition is similar to when people let darkness into their hearts. World number 3 I've chosen for this list is the Axiom from WALL-E. This could be a world Sora and friends encounter while travelling between worlds, similar to Monstro in the first game. The presence of Sora, Donald and Goofy in their current state could disrupt the world order, but changing their appearance to the humans on the Axiom could prove difficult, so the best choice would be to make them robotic, but again there are no humanoid robots on the Axiom. If the way to make them blend in was done properly, this world has a vast area to explore with plenty of story plots to use. The addition of Earth could also be a way to expand upon the world, but the empty planet doesn't have much to offer other than small story segments from the movie. The Heartless in this world could be based on the various robots aboard the ship, and there are several larger robots to use for bosses, and Auto would make a great final boss, with navigating an unbalanced and constantly moving ship to get to him, the final boss fight. The next world I think would be a great fit for Kingdom Hearts 4 is Treasure Planet. Areas such as Montressa, Legacy and Treasure Planet itself would all make interesting additions, and the humans would allow Sora to blend in well. The various pieces of tech present within the movie could also be inspiration for Keyblade form changes, such as the sailboard, which could allow Sora to travel through worlds faster without having to rely on gliding abilities, which the last few games have utilised for this purpose in the late game. There are already many Heartless based on pirates, so creating new ones in the form of space pirates wouldn't be a far stretch, and could make some cool designs for the world. There are several enemies within the world that would make decent bosses, and friends turned enemies would make a change from the enemy turned friend the game has done in the past. Next up is a world that I would liken to the 100 Acre Wood in terms of storyline for the game, and that world is Encanto. The lack of traditional foes could make this a fun and imaginative minigame world, with helping the Madrigals and the townsfolk being the main premise of the world. Encanto could also be utilised in a similar way Atlantica was used in Kingdom Hearts 2, in the form of a story told through musical numbers, which would bring the popular songs into the games. Finding another way to tell this story with an enemy and Heartless would be difficult, as there are no obvious inspirations for the Heartless, and there is no clear-cut foe in the movie to provide a boss. Every mainline Kingdom Hearts game has had a world that gives the player a break from the action, and I think Encanto would be a great way to retire the 100 Acre Wood and provide a new form of entertainment between more action-packed worlds. The sixth world on this list is Up. The various locations from the movie could provide a lot of story and combat areas, with Carl's house, the mesa they land on, and the spirit of adventure being key points. The various animals could provide the basis for the Heartless that would be present, and the world's boss would be Muntz, with his pack of dogs led by Alpha the Doberman. If this world appeared, I feel like starting near Paradise Falls would be the best option, as Carl's house in the city wouldn't provide much to the story other than if the opening sequence of the movie were to be played, as this area doesn't have much in the way of combat, and as the house would feel small compared to Sora, it wouldn't have much in the way of exploration either. Another world I think would be a perfect addition is Motunui and the other islands in Moana. Similar to Pirates of the Caribbean, this world could serve as the ocean-faring world, with the events of the movie and the locations within, such as the realm of monsters and enemies like Tamatoa and the Kakamora, making appearances. Many events could take place on the open ocean, as this is where most of the movie takes place. The many creatures that are seen in the movie would make great Heartless, and since magic is already well founded within the world, Sora and friends would have no problem blending in. Maui in particular would make a perfect ally, since he already has a magic weapon, and his ability to shapeshift could potentially be passed on to Sora, either in the form of a form change or magic spell. The next world is Coco. While the living world in the movie has a lot in the way of storyline, I feel that if this world were to be included, it would be best if it solely took place in the land of the dead. The theme of the movie would work great with the theme of Kingdom Hearts, as it's all about emotions and remembering those who are no longer around. The theme of hearts always being connected, no matter where you are, fits with Coco really well, and the land of the dead would provide a brilliant backdrop for a storyline that takes place after the movie. While the villain in the movie would suit the game, I feel like the spirit guides being corrupted by Heartless would make for a more compelling story, and Sora and friends could be skeletons like the residents in order to blend in. The various spirit guides would also make for similar looking Heartless, and the landscape would allow for plenty of flow motion. Wreck-It Ralph has made an appearance in Union Key, but I'm going to add it to this list as it has never been in a mainline game. Being a video game and having the central hub, I feel this would make a welcome addition to the series. The many video games in Litwack's arcade could all be connected to the hub without making the world feel disconnected, which the creators are now trying to avoid for a more open world experience. Games like Fix-It Felix and Sugar Rush also have the potential for smaller mini-games within them, in the form of the games that they actually are. I feel like expanding into the internet from the second movie should be avoided though, as the games from the first movie can hold up on their own. The Heartless from this world could change based on the game you are currently in, with Wrecking Ball style ones in Fix-It Felix, and more car or candy Heartless in Sugar Rush. The next world I think would fit the game well is Kumandra from Raya and the Last Dragon. This world already has themes surrounding friendship and the heart, since one of the tribes is the Heart Tribe. The river and the villages are all points of interest, and Raya being a warrior would make her and Zisu the dragon a powerful ally. The Droon would make good enemies as well, as the Heartless could be based on them. Several characters could make powerful bosses such as the village leaders. The large river could prove too large to be open world, which means if this world were to appear in the game, we could see either a largely reduced map, or more likely several areas omitted altogether, in order to make the world vast, but not too large that it feels empty. Next up is the world from Brave. The castle and the surrounding areas would make for many story and combat areas, with the castle Dumbrak being the centre of the world. The story within Brave would be ideal for the plot of the game, and if the Pixar theory is true, then this could also tie into Monsters Inc. world, but this is unlikely to happen. Since most of Brave takes place within a select few areas, it would not be the most expansive world. However, the castle could be large enough to be the main area, with the witch's hut and surrounding forest providing secondary areas for the heroes to visit. The Heartless of this world could be based on the animals that inhabit the area, but as these are also quite limited, I imagine that the animals such as the giant bear could be present as bosses. I've listed 11 worlds that could make for interesting and compelling worlds. But what would be the top 5 worlds for me? In 5th place, I would have to say Motunui from Moana. I loved the movie, and I think as a world it could have an amazing story, difficult bosses, and the ocean exploration, if done right, could make this an interesting place to explore. In 4th place is Litwack's Arcade from Wreck-It Ralph. The idea of not only travelling to the games but playing them would definitely tick some boxes, and the number of different games you could visit would set this world apart from the rest. 3rd place has to go to the Axiom from WALL-E. While I couldn't figure out how to make Sora and friends blend in, I'm sure if done correctly and the ship is large enough, it could be a fun world to explore. It's also one of my favourite movies. 2nd place goes to Endor from Star Wars. Star Wars is one of my all-time favourite movie and game franchises, and the addition to this game would make for potentially my favourite. And finally, in first place is Zootopia. I loved the movie, and the pure scale of the city could provide the game with an amazing backdrop with dozens of places to explore, fight, and treasure hunt. Unfortunately, the pure size of the city from the movie is just too large to include it all in the game, but the select few biomes could still make it worthwhile to put in. And there you have it. While there are many other worlds that would make welcome additions to Kingdom Hearts 4, these are the ones that I would be the most excited by and the ones I would most like to visit. Were there any worlds you would include or any in this list that you don't think belong? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it helps the channel out so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.